Well, first of all, I'd just like to thank you all for trusting me. You didn't really know what was going to be happening, but you all still went along with the game and made a beautiful moment happen. So thank you all for that, and particularly my volunteer. He's very brave coming up here. Shows a lot of trust in a performer to come out and do that. So give him another round of applause. So, as a performer, I travel a lot, and so I have to be able to build trust with an audience very quickly, and sometimes in very strange situations. And sometimes I need a lot of trust from my audience because I'm going to need them to come out and help me. Sometimes I'm going to need to get a stranger to trust me with their child. So, I've had to learn quite a few techniques to be able to gain the trust of people as quickly as I can. But before I go into that, I want to share a little bit about my journey as a performer and why I do what I do. So one of the key things that I think a performer gives an audience is a moment of pure existence. A moment where you forget about everything else because you're so engrossed with what's happening right at that moment. You're completely present with a group of people all experiencing that at the same time. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So, after I ran away from law school to run away with the circus, I was touring the country with Circus Aotearoa, closing the show as Michael the Rope Warrior. So I would perform acrobatic stunts on a rope high above the audience before I'd be spun round, holding on only with my hand in a tiny hand loop. Now, what I saw that the audience was experiencing during this, they were completely present because they were imagining what it'd be like to be me up there, risking my life, trusting in my strength and the equipment and the person spinning me. But the ironic thing I found was, because I had to rehearse this so much to make it safe enough to perform, I could do it without thinking about it. So I began not being present while I was performing that. I'd be thinking about more important things like what was going to be for dinner. And because at the circus, you do really run on your stomach, and the food was quite amazing, so thank you, Patty. But after a while, I wanted to be able to connect with the audience more because that's what I saw as the power that I had, was to share with people a moment. And that's where I became more and more interested in clowning, because clowning, you have to be completely present, completely in the moment. You can't be thinking about what you're going to be doing next. You can't even really think about what you're going to do to make people laugh, because it's one of those things. The harder you try to make someone laugh, the harder it is to do. You have to be really just present and share a moment with them, and that's how you can create laughter. So I want to be able to share this with as many people as I can. But I know not everyone can afford to go to shows or has time to go to shows. We all lead busy lives with lots of interests, and for some people, going to the circus or going to a theatre show just isn't a priority. That's why I started to get into street performance or street theatre. The beauty of that is you're bringing the show to people in an everyday place that they might go to every day, like Cuba Street or down by the waterfront. But once I started street performing, I found that it was very different from performing on a stage. And there's a few things going on for that. So one of the things is investment. As people, we kind of put a value on the cost of something. We kind of equate that with the quality. We have the idea that the more you pay for something, the better it must be. But there's also the idea that if you've already paid, say, $130 to see a show, you've made an investment in that, so you want to have a good time, because else you wasted your money. So when you have people come to the theatre or to the circus, they come sit down, ready to be engaged by you because they want to have a good time. That makes it very easy to entertain. On the street, however, people are going about their day. They've got things to do, places to be. So you actually have to try and break them out of their busy story to be able to bring them together as a group of people to be able to experience a moment of joy or laughter. And they haven't made any commitment. They haven't made any investment in it. So already they're like, well, if you're giving it away for free, is it really going to be that good? So those are some of the obstacles that you have to overcome when performing on the street. So that's why I had to learn a few techniques and use a few concepts in order to be able to bring people in order to be able to get them to trust me enough to buy into the show, to be able to take part in the performance and trust me with their child. So 3 of the main concepts that I use are authority, commitment and consistency, and social proof. So authority. As people, we've got a natural tendency to follow the instructions of an authority figure. Some of you may have heard of the Milgram experiment, which demonstrated this, where somebody would keep pushing the button to give the other volunteer an electric shock, all because the man in the white lab coat kept telling them to. It's like we want to be able to give up the decision-making process to someone who has some special knowledge that we don't. Then we're not responsible. We can just give that responsibility to the authority figure who theoretically knows more than us. So I use that by dressing in a particular way to take a high status. So I'm a conductor, you have to follow what I say. Or I might just do the politician route, where you wear a nice suit and act like you know what you're talking about, and you can convince enough people of that. So the second thing I'll use is the idea of commitment and consistency. This idea is, if you can get people to make a small commitment, you can build on that to get them to make bigger and bigger commitments. This is because we all want to be seen as trustworthy. And part of being trustworthy is to be able to demonstrate that you act consistently. So then people know if you say you'll do something, you will do it. So I can use this idea on the street by just asking you to stop for just a second to just watch the start of the show. Then give me a round of applause. Before you know it, you're coming up to the rope and letting me use your child. And the third idea I use is social proof. This idea is, in unknown social situations, we'll look at others to see what the correct way to respond is. So, if I've got the startings of a crowd, I've got a few people to make a small commitment, then I can use that to get more and more people to make a commitment. Then, if I can show that some people trust me with their child, it shows everyone that I'm trustworthy, that I'm okay, I'm not going to hurt anyone. And so once I've got the child out, I get them to hold a carrot, and then I bring out the large machete in which to cut the carrot. This is where I like to play with another idea that comes from social proof. This is called the bystander effect. The way that works is when there's actually a large group of people, they're less likely to intervene in a situation or to provide help because everybody's looking around. Anyone who does feel uncomfortable and feels the need to act, they'll look around to see how to respond. But everyone else who's feeling the same way is also standing around looking at other people to see how to respond. So it's a loop. All people see is people standing there not intervening, so they go, oh, I'm not meant to intervene then. And I play with that moment because as I build the tension to cut the carrot, at the last second, I stop. And I ask the parents, what are you doing? This is your child. This is your genetic legacy to the world. And you're letting me risk injuring them just to entertain these people? So I like to use these ideas to create moments of joy and laughter with people. And to finish today, I want to do that one more time. I want to share some laughter with you, and I want to share a few things about laughter. So the first thing is, the act of physically laughing actually makes you feel better. The second thing is, laughter is contagious. The third is that even fake laughter can achieve these other two goals. One thing that I do enjoy doing sometimes in public is just laughing as loudly and for as long as possible to see who else will join in. I highly recommend that at some point for you all to try, but for now, I'm going to try something I call a Laughter Orchestra. Get my trusty baton back out. So this time, I need everyone here, you're going to be my hose. So I want you guys to follow this, but with a hearty ho, 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 ho. So everybody. Good, thank you. Yeah, do try and keep going, and you'll be surprised that the fake laughter will turn into real laughter. So in the middle section, you're going to be my ha's. So ha, 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 ha. Just a wee giggle, and up. Good. And over here, we're going to be he's. Hee 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 hee. All right, now let's see how this all goes together. Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.